Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I get to welcome you to a wonder-filled Wednesday. That's right, definitely wonder-filled with my guest in the building. Hanad Abdi is going to be telling us all about his burst into the industry, y'all. He is an actor who is now based in LA, but born here. So he's going to be telling us about that transition and the ways that he is building up his dream in the industry of having a flourishing acting career. So I'm excited that he's here today, but I'm also excited that you have joined us today. Go ahead and take this time at the top of the show to share this show with folks who you feel could benefit from our daily dose of dopeness we work to give you here on the Day with Trae. And if you can't watch our TV show, you can always listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and the Day with Trae. You'll find us wherever your favorite platform is. Now, there's like a bunch of them, y'all. And shout out to our podcast team for making sure the audio is crisp for all of you audio listeners out there. Well, before I get into it with Hanad, I get to get into it with y'all. And you know, the thing for me is that when we talk about inspiring stories, you never know where someone is on their journey. And so there's a wide range of what inspiration can look like, whether you're just starting, you're a seasoned professional, or you're someone who's now ready to give help to others who are looking to embark on your industry. I always love this kind of arc that happens where you hit a certain point and you go, wait a minute, there's opportunities here for me to make sure I'm just sharing what happened with me with others who are looking to do the same thing or something similar. And I appreciate it because we have talked a lot about mentors here on the Day with Trae. And you don't know where your mentor may come from, but oftentimes a mentor is called into mentorship. It's like they have to take up that call and say, you know what, I'm not going to keep these secrets or these gems to myself. I'm going to impart them on others. And I'm always wanting to give a huge shout out to anyone who takes up the call for mentorship because folks do need it out here. Now, there's something about exemplifying what success could look like for someone else. It may have all of its own unique characteristics, but through it, there are thorough lines that we have seen time and time again. That is consistency, dedication, a true passion, something that is constantly guiding you into it day in and day out. And if you find that you're someone who has been able to find that in their lives and you want to be able to ensure that others find it, I'm encouraging you right now to take up the call for mentorship. You know, we never know how what we do may impact someone else until we actually do it. So not only do I want you to be inspired, I want you to understand that when I talk about all of us playing a role in this, having our part in this, it is so vital and real. And when you recognize what that call is for you, it not only feeds those that you're pouring into, it feeds you as well. There's something so beautiful about that cycle, okay, of energy. You're pouring into others, they're pouring into you. You're watching folks grow. And that growth in and of itself is something that feeds you. So I'm encouraging you today to take up that call for mentorship. If it's something that's been ringing in the back of your head, I'm right here, the one gonna ignite the spark again for you to take up the call, help someone else. And I promise you, you'll be helping yourself in the long run as well. Well, after this short break, Hanad Abdi gives us a little glimpse into how he's been taking his dream to the next level. Y'all don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
There's something magical, alchemical about being an artist. Being able to create, mold, envision, enlighten. This is a wonderful task. That's why I do it. My name is Joyce J. Scott, and I'm having my 50-year retrospective walk a mile in my dreams. Come on down.
Disney and Cameron Mackintosh's Mary Poppins comes to life on stage at the Fifth Avenue Theatre, featuring Step in Time and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Make it a jolly holiday at Mary Poppins. For tickets, visit fifthavenue.org.
Hi there, Manny Santiago from Washington Health Benefit Exchange. We're excited to help everyone enroll in health and dental insurance plans for 2025, regardless of immigration status. Open enrollment is happening right now, November 1st through January 15th, so it's the perfect time to find a plan that fits your needs and budget. Trusted resources in your community are available in person, over the phone, and online to compare health and dental insurance plans from the brands you know and find savings only available at wahealthplanfinder.org to lower your monthly insurance costs. Visit our website at wahealthplanfinder.org or call us at 855-923-4633.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is Hanad. What's up?
What's up? Thank you for having me, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not often that we get someone who is embarking on this phenomenal journey that you're on to come here and really shed some light on what this looks like. So let's start from the beginning. Now, you're born here,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But at some point, that acting bug kicked in.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the beginnings for you.
April 3rd, 1998. I was born, you know what I'm saying? And just to tell you a little bit about my background and how I got to, where I've gone to today. I come from a family of 8. I have one older brother. I grew up in one of them TV homes. Mom, dad, grandma. My parents are from Somalia. They came here in 97. So I was the first kid that they ever had in America. And I had an older brother. I got 6 younger sisters though, but at the time it was just me, my brother, and my sister. And my brother, he set like a certain foundation at home where it's going to be very competitive and we're going to push each other until, we get to where we want to get. And so through the years of just growing up, being beside him and growing up in the city of Tukwila where I grew up in, and I went to the same school district my entire life. I don't know why that's relevant, but it probably will be a little later on. And, I played basketball. That was a place where I was able to express myself a little bit. And it taught me a lot about myself, right? When you're younger, obviously you don't have a job and, you're just in school. Like there's certain qualities of the game of basketball that I was able to incorporate into my life, even now. And so one thing I realized was just, playing, I was never the strongest, never was the fastest, wasn't the best shooter, wasn't the best ball handler, but I always found ways to, stay competitive and figure out ways to win a game. And so the reason why that's relevant is because going into my senior year of high school, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in, but I knew, small hands, 6 foot on a good day, basketball was probably not in the future. And eventually the season ended and I had to figure out something. And I graduated in a couple of months. And so my parents are pressuring me a little bit, they really wanted to know what direction I wanted to go in. And thankfully, I was at home one day, just on my phone, and something for acting popped up. Now, growing up in the community I did, growing up in this city, I've never heard anyone ever try to pursue that field. And so I went and did some research, realized that most of the stuff isn't real life. Like if you would have told me back in the day, Game of Thrones was something that is specific and took place at at that time and stuff, and it was like all factual, I would have believed it. That's how ignorant and like bliss I was to the whole thing. And so once I did my research, I kind of got a little discouraged just because of who I was at that time and the people I was around. I had conversations with myself. I was like, yo, bro, what am I talking about acting, bro? This is real life. What are we even talking about right now? Let me just go ahead and put this on the side. And eventually I went back to school that same week and I brought it up to some of the school counselors and some of the people who knew me pretty well and some of the teachers, and they were like, we can definitely see you doing this, And then I look back at certain moments in school when I didn't necessarily have a speech prepared for class. but I would stand up there and wing it, and people would enjoy it, and the teachers would just eat it up and just give me a solid grade for it. And I was like, well, that was something. And then even at times when I used to go out on the weekends with some of my friends, and we would have a blast, something would take place. And then eventually we get back to school. We were all there at the same time. We all seen, what that night was like and what took place, yet they would wait for me to come to the lunch table to tell the story. Why? Thank you for asking. Because it was the way I would tell the stories. So then I realized I got something. I realized that there's something there for me. There's something, I don't know necessarily what it is, but there's something there. And so eventually I went back, I had to have a conversation with myself and the school counselors and all the people who I thought had a solid judgment on me. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try. Went home, mind you, I come from, parents who are not from here. They wanted me to become a lawyer, a doctor, or something. I knew that wasn't necessarily what I wanted. My brother, who I brought up early in this, who set the foundation and the groundwork for success for us. He is the youngest city councilman in school of history, and so he set that bar very high. Now I knew I couldn't reach that, but I said there's other things I'm gonna figure out. And so when I went home that day, I said I don't know how I'm going to present this to my parents, but I'm hoping that they buy this idea of me pursuing this acting career. And so I went upstairs, prepared this whole monologue of how I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this, and eventually I walked down there, I knocked their door, they told me to come in, and I forgot all my lines. I forgot all my lines. It's like, yep, it's good, we're gonna wing it. I winged it, gave them a whole spiel, and they're like, okay. I was honest, pissed off when they said, okay, I'm gonna tell you why. It's because I was so prepared for everything when they say, no, I don't think, I had I had different avenues to go.
You was ready.
I was ready. What do you mean? Yeah. I was like, all right, okay, I guess then, all right. So anyways, they're like, yo, when is this going to take place? When is this opportunity, this audition for people from LA gonna take place? I told them it's gonna be on this Saturday. That Saturday happened to be my birthday.
Wow.
So 6 days goes by. 6 days go by. Me and my mom and dad never had a conversation about it since. And on that day, unfortunately, one of my friends happened to get jumped that night. And so I had to go to the hospital with him. I wanted to be a good friend. I wanted to stay the night with him. I was like, you know what, this opportunity would have been nice, but I'm gonna try to be a good friend and just, be here for him. And on that morning, 6 a.m., my mom and dad called me. They noticed I wasn't home. They always figure that part out though, eventually. But when they had called me, I thought they were gonna call me to just tell me, yo, where you at, what's going on? They called me asking if I was okay, if I was safe, and what happened to this opportunity. I was shocked. My mom and dad had that bookmark. They had it in their schedule. I brought it up to them once. I didn't even think they would even buy in and want me to even pursue this, yet they were on top of it and they woke me up. Well, they were intended on waking me up to try to go ahead and do this. That touched my heart. And so, they were like, talk to your friend, make sure he's good, have people with him, and if it's okay to leave, we're gonna meet you over there. I go over there with this commercial I had memorized, standing right up there with my mom and dad, and I go ahead and do this. And these folks from LA eventually ended up liking what I did, and the dream started there. And eventually I went and did classes every Saturday and Sunday up until I graduated 3 months later, and I didn't tell a single soul about it. Not my siblings, not my friends, just because, I'm proud of myself for understanding at that time that you could get discouraged a little bit being around, your friends could probably, sway you and laugh at it, the idea of it and whatnot. And so I didn't tell nobody. And I eventually, prepared myself as much as I could to go to this acting competition down in LA. I went there with no experience. There's folks coming from Australia, Asia, India, who've done a whole bunch of movies down there, but they wanted to make it in Hollywood. And I went over there with just basketball experience and my life. And 5 days of competing against 1,000 people all around the world. Fortunately, I was able to perform my monologue and commercial in front of all these representatives. And at the end of that week, they had told people who was gonna be the winners. We would stand up there at this big competition, and thankfully I ended up getting first place.
Wow.
Yeah, so I definitely, sorry for the long story.
No. The reason why I didn't interrupt you is because it was clear that you had a story to tell and you wanted to tell it. And I appreciate it because I think when you think about some nodes that I picked up during this story is one, sometimes you really have to understand how you need to sink into yourself in order for your vision to come through.
Absolutely.
Because, and it's not always that way, but I can understand that in terms of, pursuing something that no one around you ever has.
Yeah,
And so then the doubts of others,
absolutely.
right, could have seeded doubt in you. But you said, no, I'm good. I'm going to do these classes.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this competition.
Yep.
I'm preparing myself. I'm
Absolutely.
ready. And you essentially put up the wall that you needed in order for that concentration to be paramount for you.
Couldn't say it
So
any better.
it's beautiful, honestly, Hanad. So how did you even find out about this audition? I mean, was that something the counselors helped you find? Because that's one piece where I
Yeah.
think folks out there are like, man, how do I find
do
these
I?
kinds of opportunities?
Yeah, so with my specific my situation, I just happened to be home, and a flyer and an ad popped up on my phone while I was scrolling through Instagram and whatever Twitter I think I was using during that time, and it automatically just grabbed my attention. But I put it to the side. But then it was on a weekend. But then on that Monday, having the conversation I just had with my family, some of my friends, people trying to figure out where we want to go after we graduate high school, what we want to do. I'm looking to the left or the right of me. Some people are getting accepted to Wazoo and UW, and I'm like, I got to figure something out. So I was like, let me go ahead and think. And I was like, oh, I remembered the fact that a couple of days, just last night, I had something in front of me where it grabbed my attention. And then I went and just brought it up to different people, and the counselors and whatnot. And that's where I got the extra drive and the push from.
So you win this competition.
Right.
And what came with the winnings? Like, it was now you had people that had seen your talent. But tell us a bit about the next leg of that process, because you win, and then what happens?
So the whole purpose and the point of the whole competition was for people to get representation. Mm-hmm. And so, we get there and we're auditioning, and we're basically auditioning as a competition, but it's essentially an audition for all these representatives, agents, and managers. And so after I had won, I had the opportunity and the luxury to just go ahead and sit down with all these different representatives. And, one of the questions that they happened to ask me right away was, congratulations, yada, yada, yada. But so when do you plan on moving here?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I never even thought about moving there. I'm over here trying to win a competition. I didn't think about what happens after.
Yeah.
And so they asked me the question. I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I plan on moving down here. I don't believe that, but we'll see. And we finished up the conversation. I eventually ended up going back home. That whole flight home, I go home with these 3 gold medals around my neck that I got from this competition for winning the best monologue, best commercial, and overall actor. And I took it off, gave it to my mom and dad, and let them know that we did it. And it was a gratifying feeling to just see them happy and like supportive and like actually like pushing my dream, and me ended up being successful in it at that time, just for that time being. And so I went home and I was like, guys, mom and dad, we're this far ahead. We got 1 foot in. I think the next level is for me to move down there. Now my mom stood up, said, hey, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. She's not going for it. I'm still a kid in her eye. None of her kids moved out the house yet. And she was not okay with that. And I talked to my dad, pulled him to the side. I said, we gotta do this, brother. We gotta do this. He didn't need too much, he didn't need too much inspiration, motivating. He was like, you know what? You are right. He believed in me and my capability. And, if he ever questioned it, the gold medals are sitting right there. You know what I'm saying? And eventually he had a conversation with my mom, and she was like, she was pretty down about it, but she was like, I don't want to hinder your growth or slow you down, and you have a vision, and you seem like you really want this, and I'm going to go ahead and support this. And I think the main reason why she was able to let me go so easily, as easy as she did that, it was because she's seen, how I grew up. She's tested me a lot through those years. There was a lot of moments in my life where she had thought if she dig through one of my jacket pockets, she'll probably find a lighter. There was nothing there, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm a good kid. I don't drink, don't smoke. Everybody at home, don't say no to drugs. But she definitely put me through a lot of tests growing up, and I was able to pass most of them, I think. And eventually she was like, we're gonna let you go ahead and do this. Just don't forget who you are and make sure you marry a Somali girl. I don't know about the second part, but we'll figure that out though, you know what I'm saying? And so I went down to LA, and I was able to do some special things.
Yeah, so you have been able to actually play some roles,
Yeah.
get some real experience.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different opportunities. It's commercials and
Yeah.
TV shows and films. So tell us about some of those highlights for you that you've been able to experience since being down there in LA.
Okay. So when I got down there, I had a lot of conversations with people who was already living there, people I met from the competition. And then when I was going down there, I had sat down with some of the managers and agents. And so I already had that lined up when by the time I get there, I'm gonna go, sit down with some of these folks. And most of them told me when I got there, they're like, yo, it's gonna be a long process. It might take some time, it might take a couple years, 5 years. I said, 5 years? That's crazy. I'm 18 years old, 5 years. Before that, I was 12 in middle school. I'm like, bro, that's like 5 years at that time is a long time. So I'm gonna figure this thing out right now. And some of them were telling me, you're gonna have to go out and try these extra roles and this and that. One of the last managers I happened to sit down with, she was from a smaller company. And I sat down with her and we had a nice conversation. And eventually I went home. When I got home, she had called me and said, Hanad, I know you didn't decide who you wanna go with. But there's this opportunity for an HBO show who they're looking for a guy your age, your look, and is from your background. And I was like, oh, okay. She was like, yo, is it okay if I submit you for this even though I don't represent you? And I was like, let's do it. She submitted me for it. At that time, I never done a job interview, let alone audition. And I went in the next day, I was supposed to memorize 8 pages. Mind you, I don't know nobody who acts. I went home, I printed out these pages. I said, 8 pages? They don't expect me to memorize 8 pages. I'm gonna go in tomorrow, read it off the paper, but I'm gonna have it as memorized as possible, and we're gonna go from there. I walk in, I do this this audition with these 8 pages. I'm prepared, stand up there, I read the script, and like everybody just stops me. Like, what happened, son? You're supposed to memorize this stuff. I'm like, I just got it yesterday. I didn't think that it was supposed to work like that, yada, yada. And then eventually they're like, you know what, we'll get you another opportunity next week, son. I don't know how you got into my room without knowing this type of stuff, but we'll give you another chance. There's something about you that we really like. And so I went back, I memorized as much as I could. Long story short, after several auditions, my very first audition was for a co-lead role on an HBO show that was produced by someone who produced Game of Thrones and the only Oscar award-winning director. And I ended up getting the job.
Wow.
So to hell with them folks who said, I gotta go be an extra and try this and that. I went and I really believed that I can go ahead and do this, and it eventually ended up working out for the time being.
This is amazing, and it's such a great, inspiring story, Hanad. I'm so glad that you said, there's something here for me, and I want to do this, and I'm going to pursue it. Now you're living in LA. You have that role. You've been able to do other roles. You're building your portfolio. You have a movie that just came out. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so fortunately, I was able to do that HBO project. Unfortunately, it was a TV pilot. It never got to come out.
Right.
Never got to come out. But I was able to, take away some things from that. I was able to build a solid team, representatives who I thought could get me to the next level. And then that was back in 2016. 2017, I did an Adidas commercial for James Harden's basketball shoes, and me being a basketball guy, I thought that was very dope. After that, I went and did a movie called Run, Sweetheart Run that is on Amazon. But before I even get to the next couple parts, I just told you guys about this part where I was on the way up. And in my head, I was killing it. I just won this competition. I just booked my first audition. I did this and that and that. And then boom, once the show didn't come out, I started to go ahead and go through a little bit of the trials and tribulations that come with just, being a part of that field. And so I had to start, navigating through the struggles that I was starting to see, because at first everything was all smooth. Then I had to go ahead and deal with reality and figuring out rent and figuring out how to sign a lease and get a car, and all throughout the process of me trying to get to where I want to get in my career. And so I did this Run Sweetheart Run movie. It was supposed to come out during the pandemic. It didn't end up coming out. because it had, you know, George Floyd. Unfortunately, we all know what took place with that. The movie, when I was in it, I was playing a role where a guy who eventually gets killed by basically like choking him to death. And they didn't want that coming out, you know what I'm saying, during the same time that, you know, that took place. And so they ended up removing me and like 9 other people from the movie who were colored folks and, you know, changing it to people from different backgrounds and stuff. And so that was unfortunate. Then eventually I did another movie because of the pandemic, didn't get to come out because all of the movie theaters were closed.
Yep.
And so now I'm coming from the HBO show that never came out. And the 2 projects that I just did and I thought was gonna get me to the next level, they didn't come out for the specific reasons I just said. And so I went and I did another project called Little America. It was for a lead role for an anthology series in Apple TV. Now, once I went through that whole auditioning process, after I signed the dotted lines, I looked around the whole room and I told everybody in the room, I said, you guys don't know what you guys just did. Anything that I ever signed doesn't come out. But I'm gonna get this paycheck though, and I'm gonna go ahead and work on this project though. We'll see from there. They're like, nah, it's gonna come out, don't worry. This is not like the other things you've done. This was already fully green lit. It's guaranteed, it's gonna be good. And eventually did the project. It was the best time of my life. I've enjoyed that. And then something took place where the director was accused of something, and eventually there was question marks in the air whether the episode would come out or not. And I was like, man, I gotta be cursed. I gotta be cursed. This can't be real. But, you know, I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's all a part of my life story. We'll see where this goes. And eventually, you know, it did end up coming out. And then from then on, I was able to do another project that you just named. Well, it's called 1992. It just came out with the leads being Tyrese Gibson, the late, great Ray Liotta, and Clint Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood. So that was a pretty monumental moment in my life and my career. And it's been a testament to the work I've been able to put in. And I was only in there for like good 2 minutes, but nonetheless, though, a solid 2 minutes, though. So go ahead and watch that when y'all get the chance, though, 1992. Make sure that I'm in the first 8 minutes of the movie. If after that, you guys can turn it off, it's up to you. But just go ahead and give me a look. Yeah.
Well, I'm so grateful that you came here to share your story. We want you to soar, Hanad. You definitely have such charisma.
Thank you.
And it's great that you were able to do these projects because they help build your talent. I mean, the world of acting is nothing but a bunch of auditions and a bunch of no's. And you haven't experienced all of that yet. You've experienced these projects, which is real. So I'm so grateful that you came here to shed light on your story and to inspire others who are like, you know what? I could do that too. I see these ads on my Instagram. Let me go ahead and tap in. But of course, if folks are trying to follow you as you continue to do great things, I want you to look right there in this camera closest to me. Let them know how they follow Hanad.
Yeah, go ahead and type that in on the Instagram, Twitter. I think those are 2 accounts I use the most. At the real Hanad, that's at the real _ Hanad, Hanad. Go ahead and give that a look when y'all get the chance.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me. This is my first time ever doing an interview. I'm gonna look back at this in 10 years and be like, yo, this is where it all started.
That's right.
Trae Holiday, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, no, I really appreciate you though.
Of course. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Yo, what a great inspiration today. I'm telling you. I'm gonna wrap it all up after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Africatown Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africatown Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africatown Plaza is a love letter to the community.
A world of wonder awaits at Pacific Northwest Ballet's The Nutcracker. Treat your loved ones to the Northwest's favorite holiday tradition at Seattle Center's McCall Hall. Visit pnb.org.
MLK Lobby Day brings the power of community voices to Olympia. Join Poverty Action as we advocate for policies that will clear the way out of poverty. And tell legislators what is most important to you. Save the date, January 20th, 2025. Sign up to stay updated at povertyaction.com/newsletters.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Hanad just lit the studio up with so much energy and charisma. Huge shout out to him for coming here and sharing his inspiring journey into the world of acting. And for any of you out there who have been on this journey, you know that it can be filled with ups and downs, and it looks like dead ends. And then you got to find another way. You got to do a U-turn. You got to reframe yourself. I mean, there's so much involved. So it's so great to hear from his perspective how he is taking this on with strides, y'all. And of course, you know, I'm inspired. I want you to be inspired. No matter what it is you're going to be doing in your life, if you can move with that much energy and charisma, others will be attracted to the things that you are doing. So I am hoping that you are feeling that energy over on the other side of the screen as we were feeling it here today in the Black Media Matter studios. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. Until then, at 11 a.m., y'all. Peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.